So I'm going to show you guys a few things with contact today. I thought it'd be good just to do it in walk so you can really see what like difference a tiny movement can make on the horse's mouth. And I know like a lot of things get thrown around about contact, like keep a consistent one, but make sure you have one. And it can get so confusing because when I tell people to have a consistent contact, they can end up like pinning here. So they're like, don't move, don't move, don't move. The problem is the horse is always moving, so the contact always has to be moving even when it's consistent. So I'm going to show you like a few things. I'm also going to show you a few different ways of like making the horse yield in the mouth, because there's so many things, like so many different sayings. I feel like it can get quite confusing. So if I just halt, I'll explain it all a little bit. So what I'm first going to explain about is how important, he's like asleep, how important first like having a contact is, because if you think about the hind legs being connected to the front end, the best way I can explain is if you held one end of a whip and the other and you pushed them together and it kind of made that bow. I read the other day, it was like a rainbow. If you think about like to do that, you have to have some pressure on the front end and pressure on the back end. So you've got to be pushing the hind legs through and have a feeling on the rein as well. So first of all, it's really important that you actually have a contact. I know a lot of people when they say, like for example, Eagle naturally wants to drop his head low and bring his head in. So you could be really kind of put off to have a contact with that because you're kind of always wanting like go out, go out, go out. But the problem is if you don't connect the hind legs to the front and you don't have a contact, then they never take that feeling of wanting to pull the bit out and like seek the bit. So first of all, you have to have a contact. So secondly, what I'm going to talk about is once you've got a contact, so we've got a contact and you can see he's not on the bit, he's like leaning against it. And bear in mind, like I've literally just got on him, I haven't worked him, so he is slightly unengaged, so it's not going to be like the perfect example because obviously the hind legs need to be really there, but I'm just going to show you the basic thing. So first off, I've got a contact, and if you've got a horse that is really inconsistent, like goes on, off, and you can't find it, I would say the first thing is to find the contact. Don't worry if they're on the bit, off the bit, and I especially do this with the breakers, which I'll be riding later. But what you've got to think about is first I've got to have a consistency, I've got to have a feeling, and I've got to find that. Once you get that and they're pulling, like he's pulling, then I'm going to start to think about like, okay, now I can start to yield. And there's so many different ways that people think about yielding them. One of them, I'm going to do it, but I'm not going to do it as extreme because I don't want to kind of upset Eagle. But what some people do is they go, come on the bit. So they pull back here, they force and they lock. All you can see, all I'm doing is shortening his frame in this way. There's no like thought about what's going on here and no thought about thinking like coming round it. It's literally like, So all it's telling his neck to do is like this. And it's basically like, you know, getting a little chicken chin. So that it doesn't work because you're literally just going, and like there's no movement, it's all fixed, it's all forced. So what you want to think about, we need to think about moving the bit in the mouth because it can't be like a static thing, otherwise they don't yield and they don't give to it. So the next common thing is the seesaw. So this is where people will go like this and they're, okay, you see, he put his head down, but it doesn't mean it's right. So the problem is there's no like consistent contact here. And if I'm going around here, you see now how he's going over bent and how he's dropping down. And then there's the problem. So there's no like consistency for him to feel like comfortable on it. And also you end up doing this and yeah, it just doesn't find that give on the jaw, on the rein. The next one is, and I just explained this to Sue, is the bounce one. A lot of people say to kind of go like this with the rein, like squeeze, squeeze, squeeze. The problem is what happens here is this. So you see how he's going, and if we all the time go like this, yeah, he's coming round her, but we've got to think about like how he's coming round. If we kind of go like bounce, 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 and again, you see it like some people will go like this, they'll go, come on, let go, and you can see how it's making his head go, So again, like not the best method. Another one as well, and it's a very common one, is I'm going to do this to get my horse, good boy. I'm going to do this to get my horse to come round. So I'm going to bend them, good boy. He's like, what are you doing? I'm going to bend them and I'm going to pull them to the inside to get them to yield. And you see it a lot, people riding off their inside rein and going, that's how I'm going to make them let go. The problem is, you shouldn't really bend the horse past the width of their shoulder, which when you think about that is like, it is not that far. Like it's like that. It's not very far at all. But what the reason behind this is because if you bend the horse past there, they lose their balance, they fall out the shoulder, they go all over the place, and that's not going to help the contact at all. Yeah, they might lower their head, but they're not going to come consistently through and keep it. Like if you go on a straight line, they'll just head straight back up again. So now I've explained what not to do, let's talk about what to do. So first of all, like now you've got a feel down the rein, you've got a consistency. So what you want to think about, it's kind of like a really soft, subtle, like the best way to describe it is like squeezing a stress ball, not like you're really angry. Let's just pretend you're having a good day and you've got a stress ball. You want to think about just that slight movement. Now he's very, very sensitive to this. So you can see how he drops quite quickly, and I have to be careful that my hand doesn't pull back because that will happen. And again, like I'm talking, we're in halt at the moment, so I can't engage. I haven't done anything. I haven't got my leg on, I haven't got him engaged, and that's why he can drop behind the contact, which I'll show you in later videos. But yeah, it's that like slight movement, that slight yield, that slight just give to the bit a little bit, and then see how he's dropping behind here now. I'm not gonna go like, get up, pull back. What I would do is I would do like walk, halt, walk, get my leg on, get him pushing from behind and push him out into the bit with my leg. So it's always riding, leg to rein. But that's really all I can explain while stood here. And then in later videos, I will explain more how to use the hind leg to push the contact out. Does that make sense? Was that good?